This is my 21.1 Body's Responses to Temperature Applied Physiology PowerPoint. To start off, I'm going to talk about heat loss. There are four types of heat loss and the way the body can lose heat. That's through conduction, convection, evaporation and radiation. I'm going to look at those in more detail in the following slides. So, conduction. This is basically the process of losing heat by coming into direct contact with other objects. So like, it could be a cold object, so if you were to touch a metal object which are normally cold, your heat from your hand would be conducted into the metal, like fork, knife, and that would then transfer the heat from the hand to there, so your hand would then become cold. Your body is most prone to losing heat when coming into contact with water. This is because your body loses heat at about 25 times faster when it touches water or sometimes even air. So when you're vulnerable to cold air, so particularly in the winter, your body will lose heat like 25 times faster than what it would in this like spring, sort of autumn sort of time, where it's a bit more average temperature. The next one is convection. Convection is the process of air or water flowing by the skin and carrying away the body's heat, so it's slightly different to the conduction one. The convection heat loss tries to prevent by staying as still as possible in water. So if your body's exposed to water, staying as still as possible would stop you from losing heat as much as or as rapidly as it would when you are swimming through water or moving through water, because the water that's brushing past you may be colder than what you were when you were standing still. The water around you would then heat up from your body heat, which would keep you warm. So if you were to disrupt the layer of water around your body, then that would cause heat loss. The next one is evaporation. This is the process of liquid changing to vapor. So when you sweat, your skin would, you might get like moisture in your skin from the sweat, and then that would eventually evaporate, which is where heat from the skin will dry out the liquid on your skin, and that's how the skin would then cool down. It would use the sweat to cool your body down, which is why you sweat, to cool your body down. It's like a natural effect, almost like the natural cooling effect, which is what results in the sweating. The next one is radiation. This is the primary cause of heat loss, as this process is similar to how the sun radiates heat to the earth. So, but obviously from our body it's just a much smaller scale. Obviously it's nowhere near as much heat in our body as there is on the sun. The heat is generated from within the body and is given off to the surrounding atmosphere. So any heat that we don't need, we give off to the atmosphere that's around us, the air and everything like that. So like any heat we don't need, we just conduct away. The next one is hypothermia, and it's hyper, not hypo. Hypothermia is where the body is above normal temperature, so if you're overheated. Some of the signs and symptoms: heat cramps. This is due to like water loss or loss of electrolytes in the body. Obviously if you've got a low water store in your body, then you are going to become fatigued quicker and you are going to suffer from like nausea and tiredness. And this is just simply because your body can't function without enough water in it. It does struggle and it gets put under a lot of pressure and strain. Heat exhaustion. This is extreme fluid loss due to prolonged sweating. So if you were to do like a sustained period of physical activity, say play a football match, but include the warm up and the cool down in it, and you've got a massive period of time where you perhaps can't actually get a drink, as when you're on the pitch you can't just stop and ask for a drink. Doesn't work like that. You just got to try and restore your water sources before the game and at half time, so that you can last the full 45 minutes either side of that. Some of the things to look for is like a weak pulse on the person who may suffer from heat exhaustion, or they may begin to get clammy skin. And another one is heat stroke. This is when the internal body temperature is over 40 degrees. So obviously the average is about 37 for a human inside our body. Obviously we don't feel that hot on the skin, but obviously a lot of heat goes to muscles when they're like doing exercise and moving and being used. So if you do find yourself in over 40, it can become very dangerous. So you would need to stop doing any exercise and just relax, restore water sources. But something that you would look for to see whether you have this or not would be a rapid pulse, which is just because your blood is pumping so fast, which is why your body temperature would increase so much, because your heart is constantly pumping to make sure the blood is circulating around your body and reaching everywhere. Dehydration. This occurs when you lose more fluid than you intake. So if you were to only have one bottle of water, but you were to urinate a lot more or sweat a lot more than the equivalent of a bottle of water, you would become dehydrated, get dry mouth, and you'd feel very, very depleted and fatigued after short periods of exercise. This obviously can have massive side effects like nausea, dizziness, tiredness, sickness, a lot of things, just simply because your body will need constant restore of water to make sure that there's enough in your body to be helping the muscles, the blood flow, and everything working, keeping it in good condition, working order. It's when you lose more than 5% of your body weight in water. A lot of your body weight is made up by water. Obviously it's quite hard to tell if you've lost 5% of your body weight without weighing yourself before you do exercise and then after. I mean, in some circumstances, like elite rugby players will do that to see how much water they do lose, so they can refill it perfectly and to the right amount. But obviously for someone that doesn't play at elite level, it's quite hard to have the access to do that. The next and final slide is thermoregulation. This is essential for the body to survive in obviously varying temperatures. Not everyone's going to have not everyone's going to live in one specific temperature throughout the year. Temperature does vary, which is where thermoregulation comes into play. This obviously helps with the body adjusting and almost fitting back into like a different environment, somewhere that might need this. So like obviously an athlete coming from the UK and going to the Olympics in Rio in the up and coming years may struggle massively with coping with the heat, as it can reach up to 30 degrees Celsius over there, and in England it's on average about 10 to 15 in like a good time, but obviously it can sometimes reach higher. But when they're training and trying to get into the sort of regime that they'll be in when it comes to the Olympics, they'll find it very, very hard to be able to just adapt to the 30 degrees that it will be over there. So they use perhaps techniques where they can try and keep their body temperature in, where they use like silver lined like fleece or something like that, and they'd wear it when they run, or like lycra or something like that, where they just keep in the heat to their body, try and overheat themselves so that they can do the exercise when being overheated, or they'd just travel out somewhere that would have that sort of weather and that sort of heat where they can train there, so they can almost prepare their body for the certain environment that they're going to go into. So that is it. Thank you very much.